My name is Milia and I was Family Consumer Sciences major, Family Sciences. And I graduated in December 2008. And I took 2 classes with Dr. Seepersad. I took Families in America, and I took this cooperative education internship class, which was required for my major. And then I also did an independent study project with him, which was my research project. Especially in Families in America, he used a lot of different types of technology to engage us as students. And I think that's really important because with a topic like families, we already have a bunch of preconceived notions about what we think to be true about families and stereotypes about them and whatnot. And so it's like different for the chemistry. The professor just needs to teach facts and then we soak it in. But with families, it's more like I need to engage my students to change the way that they think about families and change what they know about them. So he used things like PowerPoint. We had quizzes with clickers, and he even used, I remember one day we just did a bunch of myths to debunk a bunch of myths that we thought about families. And so it was kind of a way of teaching us what's true about families in a way that's like, this is not true. So what you've always believed to be true, am I making any sense? What you've always believed to be true about families isn't true. So it was kind of a backwards way of teaching, and that really stuck with me, even though that was like 3 years ago. He also facilitated a lot of class discussions. So even though it was a lot of information and a lot of PowerPoint, he would stop every now and then so we can engage and ask questions and break out into groups. And I remember even some days we'd bring the text to class and we'd go over the text. And so we wouldn't be left at home to just read the book by ourselves and try to figure out what it means, but we'd actually dive into it during class hours, which was cool. I remember one time in class we went over a bunch of riddles, which was fun because it got us to engage critical thinking skills and thinking about situations from a new perspective. I think that's what riddles do. I think one of them was something like, families are worse off today than they were before. Like, it was that myth that everything was like hunky-dory in the past and everything was perfect and there was less divorce and less teen pregnancies, and it's actually not true from the way that statistics are. It just seemed like we just have that more negative attitude towards life, and in terms of like teen pregnancy and whatnot, people just got married. You know, it's not like people were getting pregnant less then, it's just they got married. So that was one of the myths that stuck with me. And I actually share that with people too now, because we were like, oh, things were better in the past. I'm like, no. I know. Dr. Seepersad told me. Well, besides all the different ways that you try to teach us, so not just with like PowerPoint, just with lecture, with all those different things, you were always available, which I really liked. Like, whenever I had a question, whenever I needed help with something, like email, you always replied back instantly. Your office hours, you always made time for your students, and that's really important, especially at a big university like Fresno State, to know that we matter, which is great. I do know that there was a lot of opinionated people in both the classes I took from you. And I think that the fact that you allowed them to share their opinions and, I don't know, didn't knock them, even though some of them were wrong, like they weren't consistent with the text, you were very open about listening to them, and I think that helped them feel like valued, and they were able to learn from that, hopefully. But that was important, I think, for them to be able to share that, whereas I was just like in the back going, all these people feel the need to assert themselves. I'm so glad that Dr. Seepersad's patient enough to listen, because I wouldn't.
Yeah. Okay.
Overall, my impression of you is I really admire you as a professor, because you're always trying to figure out new ways to better yourself as a professor, especially in a way that can engage us in the 21st century. You're always trying to figure out, okay, should I get a MySpace, should I get a Facebook, should I get a Twitter? I want to engage my students in the best way possible because I want them to learn. And I think more professors should have that, because I think some professors are just stuck in their set ways of teaching, but anytime something new comes up, you're like, I know Dr. Seepersad's going to be on it learning how to use that new gadget or new technology, because if that's what his students are interested in, then he wants to do that too. So that's all.